Hey guys, Wyland1 here, and today we are taking a look at my Mandalorian DJARIN, right? Whatever his name is. I want to fix up his cape. I like the plastic cape, looks nice, but then it's not really that doable with having the backpack on, his gun on, stuff like that. So I was able to find an old cape for my box of figures, and, I sacrificed one for the greater good, and I think it came out pretty well. And this is pretty much what I did right here. Alright, so I am a big advocate for recycling figures, really. If it's not on your shelf, it's not on display, if it's just like in your box of bins, bins of figures, then it's all game. So I'm taking this cape right here from I think it's a Mafex Batman, which I like a lot, but I have like 3 of them, so I don't need, I could sacrifice one. So I'm cutting down the cape a little bit shorter because it's really wide and we don't need just a big cape. So first off, I will super glue just one point in the center for one side. And I like to do it in sections first because you don't want to glue the whole thing on and try to stick it on all at once because you might have some problems or it might not look right. So what I like to do is just do one point first, let that dry, and then I do the second part next to it. And then I will stick that on and let that dry and then go on from there. Always better to do sections at a time, of course. So we put that part on, press it down, give it a couple of minutes, maybe not even like 20 seconds for it to dry. It dries pretty fast. And then we move on to the next side, and the next side, so one side actually has a wire, the other side doesn't. So this side right here doesn't have a wire. So I had to glue down the seam so it looks more flush, and then I will do the same exact thing a little bit in the center, and then I'll press down just the front of the cape so it goes in nice, and let that dry for like 20 seconds as well. And from here I'm just testing it out, see how everything looks. I'm okay with this so far. I'm like okay with it. I do feel like the cape is a little too wide because I remember from the show it always parts to the side when he has the jetpack on. So right now I'm just seeing how everything looks, how like the cape sits on top, how that'll look as well. And from here I'm kind of like, you know what, the cape is still too wide, so I'm going to cut it a little bit more. And yeah, it's don't be scared, just keep going. Know what you want to do, and then you cut it up and try it out and see how that goes. So right now I'm just cutting it up a little bit shorter, and then we're going to see how this looks. And I'm actually going to super glue this part down right here onto the back so it sits a little bit more flush onto him. And then after that I do, like I said before, section by section. Don't do the whole thing all at once. And then right here what I want to do is I want to take the 2 ends of the cape at the bottom and glue them together to the wire side, and I'll show that later. But after that we clip all the trimmings to make it nice and clean. And now we're taking a look at it. Because I super glued one end to the other side on purpose, now the whole cape can kind of flow with the wire and it'd be easier to move around. So I thought about that a little bit ahead of time. And now I can part the cape to the side. And like I said, I cut it a little bit more. So it looks like, it's all folded up and then it's just all folded up to one side, but it's actually a lot shorter and smaller than it looks. But I'm pretty happy how that turned out. It looks pretty good. And of course, with the wire, I could bend it in more. As you can see, it's sticking out a little bit, but the more you bend it down, the more flush to his back it will look in the long run. So I'm pretty happy with it. And you can always do other things, like even put maybe little magnet weights in the bottom. It might help weigh it down a little bit more. And now with the rifle. So the rifle is always something I always bothered me, that you can't put the rifle on his back, with the jetpack on, even with the cape on when it comes out stock. So I wanted to put the rifle on the jetpack. I know it's kind of weird, but for display purposes I think it's perfectly fine. So I used a Dremel. I dremeled a little hole in there, and it's not really like a perfect hole. It's kind of like a rectangle. So I dremeled a hole in and went down a little bit, and pretty much one shot was pretty perfect actually. and I'm pretty happy how that turned out. So now he can actually have the rifle, the backpack, the jetpack, and the cape all at once. So yeah, as you can see back here, now you can actually stick his rifle through a little peg hole I made. A little sacrifice, but it's so much easier now that I could store his rifle in there, which is a lot nicer with the backpack, jetpack on, cape is flapping, and now the team is assembled. And that's about it, guys. Thank you for watching. Quick little look at this, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. And like always, comment, criticize, subscribe, do whatever you want to pay attention. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Like the video, give it a thumbs up. Peace.